Welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episode and we will discuss on NFT. NFT is very important, and especially we have our technology expert, Professor David Smith, as well as Professor Ching. Uh, Professor David Smith, always you give a very good insight about technology. So what about NFT? Actually, many of our speakers actually they believe NFT is not a real asset and it has lot of challenge and other things. I know you have different views, but if you give us some guidelines, especially young generation, they are very big fan of NFT. Yeah.
Well, NFTs do have some challenges today. Uh, and it might be just good to kind of start with what they are, and then from there come back to how you begin to use them. Because if you, like you said, today, if you look today, they have really exploded this year out in the marketplace. And all types of things are selling on it. So a good definition of NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. They're a special type of a crypto asset in which each token is unique, as opposed to fungible, which is like the Bitcoin or a dollar bill, which are all worth exactly the same amount. Each NFT is unique, and it can be assets like artwork, recordings, uh, song. I mean, many different things. What's interesting is one of the first NFTs was a 10-second video by an artist named Bipple who sold online for $6.6 million. And Christie's actually is in NFTs, and they sold a 5,000 all digital artwork by a United States artist, and it was put on their auction block originally for $100, but it sold for $69 billion. So when you see that type of thing, people are naturally setting up and taking notice of it. Um, you can think of NFC as kind of like a certificate of affinity or a certificate of ownership for digital artifacts. Again, these are digital, it's not physical. So it's not like me going and buying a painting that I can hang on my wall, but these are digital assets. So things like virtual trading cards, music clips, video art, memes, tweets. Tweets are selling. There's one NFT provider called Decentraland, and what they're doing is in their game, they are selling virtual landscape, virtual real estate. And because of it, the value of these has really soared. So, I like to throw market numbers in there. And by the end of 2022, they think that NFTs will be worth a couple of $1 billion. But the real challenge, as you kind of queued up, uh, is that there's a lot of fakes. Uh, even CNN recently ran an article on it of multiple of the NFT marketplace platforms have halted trading because of the number of people who were selling fakes, or people were selling tokens of content that did not belong to them. So this is kind of going on in a way that is there. Uh, so one of the conservative analysts really said that he believes that about 70% of the NFTs which are being offered in the marketplace are fakes. So you begin to have to understand the diligence that is around. Now, NFTs actually started back in 2014 and started really slow. And initially, they were really focused on selling digital artwork and then digital songs. Um, and you can begin to see where if I have it digital like that, how do I know that I'm buying the only copy of it? How do I know if I'm buying original? how do I know that the author of that digital artwork or that digital song or that digital meme, that digital icon is not going to sell it to 1,000 other people when he tells me I have the unique asset with me? So that is, for your question, some of the challenges with NFTs is really authentication. Now, what they're doing is most of the marketplaces are putting the NFT token in a blockchain and trying to use that as a way to track it. Uh, but NFTs have no value on their own. An NFT is only what the market will pay for this digital asset. So unlike a Bitcoin on the crypto side or a US dollar bill, it doesn't have an intrinsic value like that. So that to me is probably the answer to your question.
Thank you. It's really very good analysis. Hopefully, for our audience, this is also valuable. Dr. Ching, you are also like money expert, so
Yeah,
you
good
have
morning to
innovations.
David and Marshall.
Good morning. Good morning. So, what you want to add for this NFT and NFT market?
Yeah, actually, I'm in communication with the guy who set the standard, see, on this NFT. See, so I'm very much involved in this. So let me say to all the people who are listening, blockchain will never go away. Okay, this technology, because real estate title search has been around for thousands of years. Okay, blockchain is simply the digitizing of the title search and make it distributed. You see, nothing more. Okay, so therefore, there's already proof that the blockchain will never go away. Okay, actually, all these people with blockchain, they didn't invent anything. See, they just took it from real estate, and it's proven that it's going to be there. So let me just jump to the technical part. Okay, it doesn't make sense to just dwell on this subject. Okay, people overall people are criticizing this. Okay, a few people who want to cause some excitement, they praise it. But anyway, this all NFT have a UINT 256 variable called the token ID. Okay, this token UINT is represent unsigned integer with 256 bits. Okay, from this point of view, this thing is not well designed. Okay, because 256 bits only can give us 4.3 billion IDs. Okay, it's way below what I see that the market eventually can expand it to. Okay, but anyway, I'm talking to this guy who set up this standard ERC-721. Okay, you have anytime you want a smart contract, you go to this standard. Okay, in this contract, you have to have address, the ID number, token ID. It's kind of simple, probably too simple for a small contract. In any case, this started in January 2018. So, David said it started in 2014 without any standard. Okay, they probably use this Ethernet, to do this transaction. Now they are actually doing this formally. Okay, so other than this, I can say something about why I'm in this. I'm in this because I'm the inventor of money. Okay, I don't believe the society has may invent money. Okay, we have gold, which is permanent. Then we have paper money. People just print those money, and all these are not money. They are just representation of something with value. Okay, in order to have money, you have something like gold, which is permanent, which is universal. So I'm using integer to represent money, unique set of integer to represent money. And for that, this NFT standard is not sufficient. Okay, they need to modify. I'm working with this guy, trying to modify this to make it, more. You see, definitely, there's so many things are insufficient here. So I encourage young people to go into this field because it's not going to go away. Okay, people need to really study this, and also another problem is with all this blockchain. Blockchain is written in derivative of JavaScript. Okay, today the most popular one is Solidity. Okay, they used to use this serpent. Now they have Solidity. They want to go to Viper. All of them are based on JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript is a good language. Okay, used the old timers know the basic and the Visual Basic were the most popular programming language. Okay, today the most popular programming language is probably JavaScript. Okay, I like JavaScript because we have converted basic to complete automated software, and we also have designed and converted JavaScript to complete automated software. So I would say all these guys should start to thinking about convert everything to complete automated software. So this thing will not become obsolete. Some people start to talk about dark age for digital, the digital dark age. Okay, that what they mean is that eventually all the storage device and all the protocol, all the standards will change, so that all the information we have today will be lost. So today's world, this digital will become a dark world. No one know who we are. You see, so people start to say this, and the ultimate solution is to go to a complete automated software. It's called the universal permanent software. Okay, so all this going on, all this blockchain, Bitcoin, you see, it's not well thought out, but it's very good. Okay, they challenge the government to have the Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin also can never be caught. Nobody know who started. I would guess it was started in Australia. They 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 copy. They use something which was written by Japanese, to use the idea. Okay, and it's not well thought out. I would like young people all go into this field. Okay, it's very simple. You just a few lines of code. You start to build up a system. You can start to do it. And the JavaScript is one of the easiest language there is. But it can do better. Everything can do better. You see, I'm not going to discuss everything. Okay, they will probably get lost on what we the detail of things. But anyway, this is a good subject. I like people to go into it. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr.
Okay.
Marshall, what you want to add for today's discussion, that in terms of business point of view, as you are an entrepreneurs, what you want to add?
Well, a few things. First of all, I apologize for coming in late. I guess my NFTs weren't working. Just that's a joke. The digital connection didn't occur right away. Just so you know, in regard of NFTs, there was an article. The latest article I read was one from the Los Angeles Times, and it was entitled "$69 million for digital art?" ? The NFT craze explained, and that was by a writer by the name of Sam Dean in the Los Angeles Times on March 11th, 2021, not that long ago. So I'm sure in the digital world, we've got commentary on this all over the place. And knowing my friend David, I'm sure he very well established what an NFT is and defined it, and he also probably gave us the market value of it currently and where it could be going to. One of the things that's happening with NFTs, to me, from my perspective as a business person, and as you all know, my background is in adoption of innovation marketing. So in other words, what does the adoption curve look like for NFTs? And I think as our friend Hugh just explained, it's simple coding that allows us to do a lot of different things. Did I just lose my connection? Hold on. Where am I? Something's going on my computer. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Something's going on my computer. I'm having digital interference. It must be somebody attacking me with NFT tokens or something. In any case, seriously, the adoption of NFTs, as both Hugh and David have pointed out, and I'm sure have pointed out in detail, is occurring at a rapid pace. Anybody who remembers the adoption of word processing technology is kind of akin to this. In the beginning, there was computers like IBM 360s that ran programs known as word processing programs as weighing word processing, and they were dedicated to that. And now today we have Microsoft Word, and we have other applications out there that allow people to just purchase a package and integrate all sorts of technologies. And that's where we're seeing NFTs. NFTs, as Hugh pointed out, are essentially blockchain technology. But blockchain is much more than NFTs. As he pointed out, it also is the basis for currency and also for ledger applications to keep track of assets, not just for NFTs, but actually, for instance, in the realm of what we're doing in sustainability, to track waste, how much waste is coming into a system, how it gets converted into other components, either as biochar or electricity or heat or thermal energy, and how you can keep track of that without losing the value of what the proposition is that's going through the machine. But when it comes to NFTs, the problems with NFTs that I've seen so far and that I've been engaged with separately from the sustainability side, but from clients that brought us in for seeing our NFTs applicable for artwork, the key here is there are applications already out there like Microsoft, but for NFTs. There's Art Store, which is a store out there that gives you all the tools to put together your artwork, host it on a site, and monetize it through putting it on either T-shirts or cups or anything else. And at the same time, you can add NFTs into the mix. I think the big problem from a business point of view is, and I think David pointed this out, how do you know it's real? He said 70% of the NFTs out there are not real. They're fake. It's kind of like when you get email. Most email that goes out is generated by bots, and they're spam. And from our perspective, from a sustainable technology point of view, the problem is not the NFT itself. It's creation and the energy it consumes to create that. To create NFTs and even email spam, you're using huge amounts of electricity, much more than people realize. And I think that's a significant critical mass that we have to confront and deal with. The NFTs in and of themselves, I think, as David pointed out, can be used like a Ponzi scheme. Everybody knows a Ponzi scheme is like a pyramid in which one person sells something that they don't own to somebody else that sells it to somebody else. And in the United States and in the Western world, and I'm sure in other parts of the world, Ponzi schemes are frowned upon and certainly are illegal. Which brings me, from a business point of view, what is the legality of NFTs? Who manages that from a legal point of view in each country? And are there rules of the road? What we find with the adoption of innovation of technologies is that governments are always woefully behind the curve on regulating new technologies. They can't keep up. The legislatures can't keep up. They're not informed. And when they get specialists who come in, then you have lobbyists who lobby for one thing or another. So are you getting the right information? And it comes down to understanding, as Hugh has pointed out, do you know what an NFT is? And you need people like Hugh to explain that to legislatures so that people can say, how do we regulate this? Does it need regulation? What type of regulation is required? So that in the business world, when a transaction occurs, there's transparency. Blockchain does have the advantage of bringing transparency to it, but by the same token, NFTs, as David pointed out, are being used in a way that is like this email spam. A lot of it is bogus or not. It's not real, and so or the value has been stolen. And one other issue from a business point of view, Sharif, and people out there, is copyright law. When you talk about regulation, if I create a piece of artwork, let's say I have a painting and I'm a painter, and I put it out on my website and I sell it on mugs, or I get part of that revenue through a copyright. But if somebody can take an NFT and replicate it and sell it to other people, I'm losing my copyright. And copyright law is there to protect the inventor or the artist, that the work they create is valued and can be compensated for. So one of the issues, and I think maybe Hugh can answer this better than I can, is that is there a solution, a legal solution to protect copyright through NFTs using blockchain technology? I believe there might be. I'm not an expert in the field, but from a business point of view, I think the adoption is occurring. It's going to occur just like email occurred, and so what happens is, as email comes on board, we get, everybody uses email to one extent or another, but by the same token, again, we have a lot of it as spam, which has nothing to do with our emails that we're sending out or receiving from other people. So I think it's going to be an adoption issue that we're going to see for some time to come, until somebody allows us to do three things. One, create the value and validate the value and the ownership and the copyright of it, which is making sure that we have the enforcement of the copyright laws and the proper laws to validate NFTs, and make sure that people have consequences if they steal this. Like if they steal, if they go into a bank and steal money from a bank, there's consequences. So I think those are the issues that have to be handled from a business perspective, Sharif. And that's my
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We have our new friends, Mr. Dhruvo. Thank you for joining after a long time.
Namaste.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. We are discussing about NFT. So I know you are an entrepreneur. So what's your view about NFT, and especially Indian markets? How does it works? And I know that cryptocurrency and digital currency, Indian government already accept it. So how does it work?
Okay. So basically, in India, the government has a lot of confusion about NFT. So, like in America, the NFTs are usually, it pretty much accepted across. But in India, it is a very new kind of a currency. Indians usually keep cash in their homes. So from there to trading in NFC, buying NFC, all these things is the NFT marketplace, and going there is a very big leap for the Indian economy, very very big leap for the Indian people, and a lot of problems, a lot of thefts. All these things are still there. So the infrastructure in India is not at par as stock markets and all these things. But the new budget right now, last last week, the new budget was released, and
Hello, Mr. Dhruvo. Sorry, I believe there is an internet issues. Professor David Smith. So many interesting point actually bring different speakers. I think Dhruvo has something interesting because Indian government just accepted these digital currencies. So you are also expert of policy. So when a developing nation they accept this kind of digital currency, what area they should focus, uh, especially for policy development?
To
uh,
answer your question,
was
no, feedback.
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. There has been some network issues here right now. I don't know why. Usually that doesn't happen. So I'm coming back to the point that in India is still young, for maybe India is a baby for NFTs and that kind of crypto market. Uh, but yeah, things are happening slowly. Things are getting in place, and very soon enough, common people in India will be trading in those platforms as well.
Thank you. Yes, Professor David Smith, what's your view,
So
especially? Yeah.
to answer your question is it's important to remember that an NFT is not like a cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies are frugal, uh, NFTs are non-frugal. So there's two differences there. And you're beginning to see governments and others begin to accept cryptocurrencies more and more. Uh, Cryptocurrencies are a blessing and a curse all at the same time. It's very economical to issue cryptocurrencies and manage them. Um, but one of the challenges governments have is, um, and this is what they're trying to think of how to address, is in many countries, governments use currency to regulate the economy of the nation and to set rates and things in different ways and release money and things to stimulate or slow down the economy some. That's really hard to do with a cryptocurrency. Now with NFTs, it's even more so. Uh, but what is funny is that I love what Hughes was saying about the standards. And if I look back at the standards, you've got to have a standard in place for it to get widespread adoption. And the very first standard, as you said, was the one built on Ethereum, which is the ERC 721. But there's a lot of other standards out there. While ERC 721 is really the most popular and is available across platforms, it has a lot of inefficiencies in it. So there's another standard called the ERC 1155. This one is interesting because it lets both frugal and non-frugal items be in the same smart contract. And the smart contract and blockchain are an important part of NFTs. And you see particularly ERC 1155 used in a lot of the gaming where you have NFTs in it. Uh, and then there's another ERC called 994, and it attaches a physical asset to a digital token and as a way to verify the token. And and this is trying to address some of the challenges of the fakes that you're seeing in NFT. There's also another standard called ERC 420, uh, and it's designed really around the concept of digital trading cards. Then there's another ERC standard called 809, which is designed for, as opposed to selling your NFTs, it's designed for renting out your NFTs. Once again, there's another ERC standard called 1201, uh, and it really creates an NFT in your house, and it sets commands that lets you rent your house and tokenize those assets. Then there's another ERC standard called 998, uh, which is one that is trying to be all things to many different people. But 721 and actually ERC 20 are the ones that most people use as you begin to get into them. There's also other standards being proposed. If you look at inside of China, there's a standard there called NEP 10 that is similar to the ERP 721 that you talked about in there, but it's going on and on into other applications as well. Now let's talk just a second about the other types there. There's also another type of standard called an FA2 and an FA12, and they're built more around the concept of decentralized blockchains in there, where the smart contracts and things are not the same. But many of the smart contracts are based on the Flow blockchain protocol that is used in a lot of the NFTs today to have a place to be able to manage the NFTs, track the NFTs, and hopefully authenticate against the NFTs. So let me pop this up in the internal one. There's a whole lot of standards, but the challenge is NFTs are still new. Are they going to have an impact? Yes. What NFTs do, Sharif, that is very important. It gives people who work in the digital arts a way to make money for their art, to make money for their songs, to make money for their artwork, to make money for the cards they produce and things like that, which are kind of hard to do in the rest of the world where you want something physical that you can touch, hold, trade, and show to people that way. So it has a place, but it's still in its early days, and there's still going to be new regulations put in place around it. And it's something that, particularly in developing nations where the market sizes are different, one of the NFT marketplaces called OpenSea, which specializes in digital art primarily and others, has a pretty wide acceptance within developing nations. And if you look at some of the items on there, you'll see quite a few are from developing nations. But again, the regulatory side of it and the standard side still hasn't caught up with NFTs yet.
Thank you. We have our world famous media personality, Mr. Paul, with us. We have a good news for you because 22 March, uh, I believe, this is a World Water Day, and you are one of the advocate for fresh water. So hopefully we can arrange a program together. Then I think with India Rotary Club, we are organizing this event, as well as we are providing training around 3,200 students. So hopefully we can work together, Mr. Paul. What you want to share about your good news, your World Water Day, as well as we are discussing about NFT. If you want to share your views about NFT, you can.
Okay. Well. Thank you very much, Sharif, and hello, everyone, from New York, live from New York. It's I went to my first indoor event last night, the Swan Lake at Lincoln Center, and everybody was masked, but for me, that was the first time I've been indoors and sat next to people. Um, and it's another remembrance of how nice people are and how wonderful it is to be in a room with a lot of people enjoying art in this scenario. It was very wonderful. In regards, so I've been home most of the time, actually very much focused on our World Peace Day concert and events in September for the International Day of Peace. And we have a hold on Central Park, the Great Lawn, and Times Square. And we're focused on finding the correct patrons and benefactors to make that very expensive event occur in America and around the world in all the countries of the United Nations. So that's our emphasis of our energies. With regard to water, of which peace and water are the same word, as so many other words are the same word as peace, inner peace, outer peace, nice home life. We're also going to focus on human security, feeling that you're, and there's an area in the United Nations that has human security. And if you're comfortable with your life, then you have peace to begin with. But Water Day is March 22nd. We were myself involved with creating that day. We pushed off. We had Times Square, but we pushed that off. We had another local venue. We will do something to announce World Water Day, but we've now put it into April 22nd as well. So we'll have shows on that day, but we're going to have have actually a college, a university, Mike Quinnipiac University, creating a program from their environmental department, which I think is a wonderful opportunity. Just like a good corporate citizen is going into colleges now, classes, just like environmental studies. It's a very big area. These are the way that our youth will take on our our next challenges. So we pushed it off to April 22nd, which actually is a made-up day. We also March 22nd is World Earth Day. Is Earth Day. Every day's Earth Day, but the original Earth Day was March 22nd on the equinox with John McConnell. And we've been ringing the bell in time in the UN that the Japanese donated to the United Nations. In any case, life is good. I went to see a show. I have a nice family, and everybody's doing good things. I'm involved with a commercial, a couple commercials on NFTs, and of which I've learned more. We're coming out actually tomorrow with some new technology with a company called Collect. And I've been very involved with learning about this. I've been doing the hosting, interviewing people, because the person who founded this has a comic book of the Phantom, it's called, and the Phantom was back in the 30s, and it was very well received as a comic book as well as a column in cartoon in magazines and newspapers, mainly outside of America. So we're announcing that we made it into a digital asset. This organization has created something called TAG. If anybody wants to know more about it, I have the press release that's coming out today and tomorrow. They put a lot of lawyers on this to make sure that their legalities of this NFT marketplace, securities, and so on and so forth are dealt with properly. I think David was talking about, he knew a ton about this stuff. And so I'm interested and happy to share that press release with everybody as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your very good explanations, and you are definitely, we will invite you more for our World Talent Economy Forum initiative. And for this climate change issues, we are Mr. Marshall's actually head of our like green finance. He's also take a lot of initiative. He's developing projects in Asia right now. So hopefully all of your collaborations can solve many unique problems. Professor Chin, what you want to add? Because many points come, especially we are discussing on the policy development of NFT and this kind of digital currency.
Okay, the blockchain business is still very new, so let me make some predictions on this new field. Okay, first, blockchain will survive because it has been survived for thousands of years. Then next is the digital currency from the government, and the stable currency will run all the current coin, all the business. You see, because they fluctuate up and down, they can fluctuate to zero easier. So now the government China has this digital currency, and plus Taiwan actually is using digital currency. You see, they got a smart card. It's just like digital. Nobody carry cash. You buy everything with this thing. But the security is very poor. Okay, but even with strong security, still people, a real smart person can break into this and make a living out of it easily. You see. So basically, the problem, young people, they are interested in solving the encryption problem. They can contact me through you. And we have the solution for encryption. Okay, the current encryption system is solving some mathematical problem. This is not good. Okay, this is not the way to do it. This is a problem. Okay, to be able to encrypt something, this is a problem. Okay, this problem relates to the complete automated software. Complete automated software is a general scrambler, and it can scramble any one number to another number. Okay, then scramble back, automatically create the key and the lock. So anybody interested in this field come to us. We got all kinds of solutions. We have nobody to implement it. If they're interested, they can talk to us. And also the big question is, why should government monopolize? You see, everything government go in and nobody can compete with it. But why should government monopolize? Today, my my mentor Milton Friedman has created a money-oriented society. Anybody who can make money is a successful person. Okay, he can live, he's free. What Paul Science wants to do is to change into a knowledge-oriented society where money will be used to fund innovations, and the innovations should be justified by the solution of value. Okay, and we have the solution of value, but we need somebody to get our invention money out, so we have the money to fund all this. Okay, that is basically. Let me very quickly go over the government issue. Okay, this is a big issue. Okay, the world has already pushed to the point of no government with Milton Friedman. The rich people in U.S. control the government, but still politicians want to go back. Okay, initially it was Saint Augustine, try to introduce divine laws. Laws are made by nature, by God. Okay, this type of talk. Then John Locke, after the French Revolution, wanted to create a republic, which is the United States today. Okay, then Karl Marx wanted to plan the economy. He wanted everything to be regulated. Then Milton Friedman come with this freedom, free market. But the market is not free. Okay, the most advanced system today is Milton Friedman system, free market. All this blockchain, Bitcoin, all fit into Milton Friedman's view of total freedom. Okay, but the market, nothing is free. Okay, this gravitation laws, okay, non-viable laws, nature laws, gravitation laws, and also the invisible hand. Okay, we solve the problem of invisible hand in the form of solution value. We know that all our investment behavior regulated by laws, non-viable laws of nature and social science. So nothing is free. So we got to go into knowledge-oriented society so we know what regulates us. So basically, the government is the big issue here. And the young people who want to do it, I would definitely encourage them to go into this new field of blockchain and currency. Okay, doing currency is very, very profitable. The biggest area, biggest industry today is currency, digital currency. So I have many friends who are in this, and they just make money, and I encourage people to go into it. And also our audience, if you have some feelings about the future of this field, please give your opinion, and so we know whether young people should take up on this brand new field. Okay. So basically, that's my.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall.
Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Again, I'm having to delay my here, my connections. So seriously, I think Hugh is talking about the early adopters and the innovators in this area. The vast majority of people, anybody who understands adoption of innovation knows that it looks like a standard T curve, like a normal distribution curve, and that the vast majority of people who adopt are in the center. It's represents about 67% of an audience or of a market. It's just the way of the nature of the beast. Of course, there can be what's called kurtosis, a shift to the left or the right. And if we have a shift to the left, it's like in the early 1990s, the adoption of a lot of internet technology that became a rage. A lot of money was thrown at it, and then a lot of it was lost. And then sometimes you have a shift to the right, in which you have less innovators and early adopters, and you have more late majority and more laggards on the adoption curve. However, right now, I see the NFT market as, and I think this was just talked about today on BBC in their business segment about not NFTs, but about cryptocurrencies. And as David pointed out, NFTs are not cryptocurrencies. They're related because they both use blockchain technology, but they're not one and the same. And creating NFTs is fraught, as David pointed out, with a lot of theft of tangible properties or intangible properties. in the world. But again, there are developments occurring, such as the art store, as I pointed out earlier, that are creating mechanisms and integrated platforms so that people can create real artwork, exhibit it, sell the physical artwork, but also sell the NFTs, and also sell the artwork through merchandising, such as putting their artwork on T-shirts or cups or in other paraphernalia. However, I think the NFTs, I think as David pointed out, NFTs are not currencies. And as the BBC pointed out today, adoption of cryptocurrencies will really get a big lift. And as Hugh pointed out, Taiwan has just come out with a cryptocurrency, and so are a few other countries. Nigeria has come out with one. But the real adoption of a cryptocurrency will occur when we see the US dollar having a cryptocurrency. And that was pointed out by the BBC. And I think they're correct on that regard, because the US dollar and the euro and the British pound sterling are the three largest, along with the Chinese currency, are the largest currencies in the world. And today we are still in this chasm between adoption of going electronic with currencies versus physical currency in dollars. And by the way, as Hugh pointed out, people can do anything with cryptocurrencies, but people are doing everything with physical currencies as well. So, I don't know if a lot of people realize it, but $100 bills are not the norm in the United States. They're the norm around the world in terms of the use of $100 bills, but they're mostly used for illegal transactions, such as drug deals and terrorist deals. And people are trying to replicate those in other countries that are considered by the United States enemies of the United States. And they use those and they print them and they buy all sorts of things with them. So I think the electronic currency will just help proliferate that aspect of it. And then the question becomes, if we see a political issue going on, such as Ukraine, will somebody try to cryptocurrency steal the currency of the Ukraine? And at the same time, will other people try to, it'll be cat and mouse. It's like that Mad Magazine spy versus spy approach. That's what we're seeing right now, in my opinion. But from a business perspective, I think the greatest enhancement is that NFTs are now occurring, and we're not going to stop it. We need to figure out, again, like I said before, in the previous segment I talked about, how are people going to regulate this? How are they going to adopt this? And what are the mechanisms? People can make money off of it. There's no doubt about it. I know people that are doing that. But the key here is we will see it change over time as new innovations come on into the marketplace. And probably Hugh may be one of those innovators that brings us technologies that help manage this process. I do want to make a one note that I know Sharif left the program briefly, to our friend Paul here. Paul, just so you know, we've been doing a series, and we're going to be doing a series, a second series next week on water and water issues and how to address them. And so I invite you to participate with us, and if you can, link with me on LinkedIn, and we'll discuss that. David and I put on part of this program on water last week, and I'll send you a link once we are on LinkedIn so you can view it, and then you'll see what's coming up. And we will schedule with Sharif our next water program. But that was just my side note. But going back to NFTs, I just want to say that I think NFTs are here to stay, as David pointed out, and I think Hugh will help us create the technology that is required to create adoption in a safe and viable manner for business and for people and for consumers. I mean, ultimately, if consumers buy art, they want to know they've paid money, good money for it. We've heard some extraordinary numbers, $60 million for one NFT, or lots of money, $6,000 for another NFT. These are extraordinary numbers, but you always see this when an innovation occurs. And I remember, and I'm going back to my Wayne word processing days before Microsoft Word came out. You had to walk around with an 8.5-inch floppy, and you had to have a 360 mainframe to plug into. And I was doing work for Chase Manhattan, and I would go from Chase New York to Chase London, and I would bring my floppies with me so that I could do the paperwork. Of course, in Chase London, I would show up, and I'd be the only one there at 8 o'clock in the morning because everybody else would stagger in at 11 after they've had their liquid lunch from the day before. So anyway, so I'm just telling you that it can be very exciting as a technology and adoption. It's right now, to me, it's the Wild West right now, but hopefully folks like you will help us to lasso these Wild West characters and get them into a more favorable framework so that the adoption of NFTs can be a benefit to consumers, to society, to industry. But again, one more point I do want to make, and this is the most important point I can make. We believe that there's a way to reduce the energy required to create NFTs and cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies, by the way, use huge amounts of energy, and most of that energy today is powered by coal-fired power plants around the world. And we're bringing technology to the world that not only solves water issues, but also reduces GHG emissions, improves soil health, at the same time reduces the reliance on these fossil fuels to generate these cryptocurrencies. So I'll leave it at that at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Yes.
Marshall, I just wanted to say one thing. You've had a lot of wonderful things to say. The only thing that's upsetting to me is the reminder that my mother threw out all my Mad magazines, and I'm I'm devastated, especially with NFTs out there now.
Yeah, I'm devastated too. I'd love those magazines.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Dhruvo, he's a young entrepreneur, so we have to understand the young mindset, especially those who are entrepreneur like you. What's going on inside India, especially there are many talent people, those who are developing many startup,
Yeah.
and maybe they are engaged with lot of new technology. So what's going on, and what is your advice for the global communities, especially for NFT and this kind of.
So I stand with Mr. Marmel because NFT is going to stay. That is for sure. It is a new technology, and it is an easier thing to do. Uh, but the adaptation of that might be much more easier in India than the rest of the world, because India is one of the leading young talent, young people country. So again, the technology is late to the country, but the adaptation can be very fast, and I hope that adaptation will be done very soon enough, as the government reforms are there. Again, a lot of innovation is happening. A lot of startups are blooming. A lot of unicorn startups are being there in the country, and people are trying to invest in different mediums, in different forms. Money is flowing. All these things are happening. So again, blockchain, NFTs, all these mediums are also being tried out. So the first 10%, when we say that there is a early bird adaptation of 10%, that 10% in India is like 10 crores, or huge number, 100 millions. So that is the crux. We have a volume game here, and when I talk, there are very few people. It means in India there are a lot of people. So again, coming back to the point, NFT is going to stay. NFT is something very fragile, very fugitive, and it will be adapted by the young generations, as everyone is on digital platforms. Everyone is going digital, not on just the mediums, but everywhere. So the world is going digital. So I guess NFTs will be clubbing with metaverse and all these 3D things that are coming in, and that will be a boon for these kind of transactions and these kind of financial services systems. So again, if you see closely in India, the urban areas don't use cash now. They are all onto digital payments, and the investments are made digital. People are investing less in other things and investing more in cryptos, investing more in the stock markets. Everything is blooming. So having said that, all these NFTs will also grow in those aspects. That's what I believe, and I hope that that happens.
Thank you, Mr. Dhruvo. Thank you. Like this is really great discussions, and I believe for our audience it will be very helpful. I request all of our audience please share our content as much as possible. World Talent Economy Forum, we are advocate for modern science, engineering, and technology, and definitely we have a lot of expert like to this panelists, those who contributing a lot for World Talent Economy Forum. And yes, we are growing and we are engaging with millions of peoples, and hopefully with our collaboration with these developing nations we can contribute a lot, as well as I'm sure our speakers, our board of advisors, they will be very happy to contribute for the developing nations. So now I directly want to go for the concluding remarks for today. I request Mr. Paul, what is your concluding remarks for today?
Go see more shows. Get out into the real world. Get out of your house and enjoy life. We're, I guess, hoping. Well, America. I mean, New York. Forget about it. You can get tested in every single store almost here in New York. You can get shots on the Museum of Natural History and then go jump on a Tyrannosaurus. I mean, New York has spent so much to oversee this. I think we're a blessed place. The rest of the world, I don't know with COVID, but New York has dealt with it totally. So my suggestion is, I only pray you're in a situation where you can get out and do things.
Thank you, Professor David Smith.
Blockchain is here to stay. Different forms of cryptocurrency is here to stay. I'm going to go back and quote somebody else. Be careful with it, but trust, but verify what you're doing. There's so much out there that you need to do extra research, but NFTs are a viable place for many digital artists and others, but there's a lot of scams out there too. So trust it, but verify what you're trying to do and try it. Same with crypto, try it, but don't bet the house on it yet. So Sharif, thank you so much.
Thank you. Professor Ching, what's your concluding remarks for today?
Well, I'm actually doing a lot of things. So if you have people who are interested in this area, they can come. If they have innovation, okay, they contact me if they don't have anything interesting. That's wasting both our time. But I have contact with people who set standard for cloud, distributed cloud. Billions of people using it. Also the people who set the internet standard. I'm also in direct contact with them. Anybody who has a real good innovative idea, they contact me. I will get them in touch with all the top guys who set the standard. So I'm actually doing all these things. And you are my friend for a long time, so I come here to talk to you. I don't know who I'm talking to. But in any case, if they really have good idea, I'm already, the center of people who have very strange ideas, novel. Anytime they have a new idea, they can come to me. I always give them little bit benefit of the doubt. Okay. I can understand things. I see things. No matter it's mathematics, physics, whatever you have, I will be able to understand. I have all the background, physics, mathematics, so on. Yeah, have them come to me. So basically, this is really the thing. I'm doing things that I probably won't have that much time to keep talking about things. Just anybody want to do something, okay, come to us. Want to do encryption, want to do blockchain. So we're willing to entertain new ideas. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall, what's your concluding remarks for today?
So I want to thank everybody on this panel. I think we've got some really good conversations today, Sharif. From a business perspective, as David said, blockchain and NFTs and cryptocurrency are here. They're here to stay. The question is, how will they be adopted? We're at the early stages. And again, I encourage anyone that has the innovations or the mindset to approach Hugh Cheng and ask him to help them, because he does have the expertise and knowledge. I did run into a young lady who had some experience in cryptocurrencies for the Foreign Service of the United States in tracking down cryptocurrencies for illegal use. And I'm going to try to see if I can get her to connect with you, Sharif, and with Hugh. She is really knowledgeable in a lot of areas, in parallel areas, not replicative, but in my opinion. But I think from the business point of view, we're going to see more adoption of this. And as David pointed out, you can dip your toe in the water and see what happens. And if you, it's like anything else. One needs to be cautious, but at the same time, it's a level of risk that you're willing to take, and how much of your personal assets you're willing to put at risk. In my opinion, I think the key element here, again, that we're working on is to be able to go to the people who are generating the cryptocurrencies and the NFTs and go to them and say, where are you taking your energy from? Follow that thread back and help those energy providers to use renewable energy as opposed to the current fossil fuel energy. Because what we're doing is we're just creating more pollution in the atmosphere, more GHG emissions. And a lot of people are pointing their fingers at the cryptocurrency people and at the blockchain people to say, you're responsible for this. I think there's a solution for that, and we're willing to work on that and make it happen. And then my final note on I would say, is that if you do want to get involved with NFTs specifically, and you do have artwork, certainly reach out to Hugh and his team. But also look, there are other platforms. There are platforms out there that are integrating this. So if you're an artist and you're looking for something, I know there's a group called Art Storefronts. It's a US-based group, and they bring a lot of talent to the table to help monetize art, create websites for art, and at the same time employ mechanisms that help insulate the artist from losing their artwork in the general market and have it stolen, which I know any artist would be horrified about. So on that note, I wish everybody well in the art world. And again, I look forward to everybody to join us on our water platform. And I'm sure Sharif will announce when that'll occur for next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Dhruvo, what's your concluding remarks for today?
Yes, yes. So, being from the art world, it is obviously a good thing that NFTs are there. Again, a lot of development is going to be needed from both the governments as well as the people contributing to the platform. So, NFT basically defines ownership. So you can question what's needed of NFTs when cryptocurrencies are already there. So the answer is that NFTs are non-divisible tokens. So you can break down cryptos, but not NFTs. So it has a token ID, so you can add ownership of anything and you put into it. Like it's not just subject to arts, or it can be anything. So we can also expect house ownerships, NFTs in future maybe. So just a thought again, just a thought.
Thank you. Thank you. This is really great discussions, and thank you everyone for joining today's sessions. We finish our 484 episode. I request all of our speakers and as well as our audience, please share our content as much as possible. Thank you for joining today's session. Thank you. Bye-bye and take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.